talk a National Player of the Year race. So yesterday, Jeff Goodman put out a National Player of the Year watch list. You can find it at the Field of 68. Here are those names: Cam Jones of Marquette, Johni Broome of Auburn, Cooper Flagg at Duke, Keyshawn Gilbert of Iowa State, Braden Smith at Purdue, P.J. Haggerty at Memphis, Walter Clayton Jr. at Florida, Zakai Ziegler at Tennessee, Ace Baldwin of Penn State. Tough night tonight for Ace. John Tonje of Wisconsin has had a great year to this point, but tonight Illinois guarded him. Gonzaga's Ryan Nembhard, and then Dylan Harper of Rutgers, we could talk about a little bit here. Tyler Hansbrough, coming from a guy who's been at the top of this sport. Who's the best player in college basketball?
Right now, it's Johni Broome. I think Auburn, you got to credit them. They're winning right now. They won the Maui Invitational. They've had key wins over Houston is a big win against them. He's averaging 20, close to 12, 3 assists. And also, he's playing highly efficient basketball. If you watch him play, it's not like he's forcing up shots or chasing stats. I think he plays within the game. And right now, I think he's playing the best of anybody. And the person I would put right behind him, and who I'm really kind of surprised by this year, is Cam Jones. I think Cam Jones has been playing unbelievable. And I just want to bring him up because he's one of my favorite players to watch. And, if there's any young kids out there, I think there's too much emphasis on scoring in basketball right now. And I think Cam Jones is a guy that impacts the game in other areas just away from scoring. I think defensively he brings it. The way he moves and controls a game outside of scoring is just incredible, and I think he deserves a lot of credit as well. But Johni Broome is my number one, and I'm going to have to go with Cam Jones right behind him for Marquette.
Mike?
Yeah, I think Johni Broome and Cam Jones are kind of in their own class right now.
Yes.
And then, it's really whoever you want to put under that. Love Broome. My pick would be Cam Jones. I just think he's doing more with less right now, and that's no slight against Marquette as a team, because I think they're a really good team. They're a top 10 team in the country, and but we saw in the Big East tournament last year when Tyler Kolek was injured what it could look like when you have Cam Jones as your primary ball handler, and we are seeing that in a big way this year. I mean, the scoring has been incredible. I mean, 20 points a game. He does it all three levels, every which way. You want to blitz him. He retreats, finds the right man, puts you in rotation. You want to play drop coverage. He gets downhill, snakes the ball screen, finishes crafty around the rim. You want to sag off him. He hits a three, step backs. I mean, it is the highest of levels you can get to as a scorer in college basketball, but the facilitating is insane. 66 assists, 14 turnovers this year. I mean, almost you're talking a 6-to-1 assist to turnover ratio with the usage that he has. It's just the burden that he's carrying every single night and the load that he's carrying every single night is why I give it to Jones, but Johni Broome is right there. I mean, I feel like you're splitting hairs. These are two really tremendous players, and it's great about guys that that stick around in college basketball and continue to develop.
So, 3 players have previously won National Player of the Year as freshmen. Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Zion Williamson. Cooper Flagg could be the 4th. There's no question about it. Now, I'm going to make the argument for Cooper Flagg, even though I think Broome and Jones are in their own class. It's more fun when we try to make other arguments. So I'm going to try. Number 1, he is the absolute centerpiece of that Duke team, right? He does have tools to work with, but there's no question that he's the main man offensively. He's asked to do everything for that team from a standpoint of be the lead ball handler in critical game situations, be the guy who backs you down and scores. When the three-point shot is falling, there's nothing he cannot do. And the amount of pressure that he puts on the rim and the ability to still average 17, 9, and 4 per game is ridiculous. I don't even think Cooper Flagg has scratched the surface yet. I don't. Remember, he's not even halfway through his season, and he's about a third. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come for Cooper Flagg. And I think that if he's already number 3 in this race, which to me he is right now, and if Duke keeps rising and they end up being the number 1 team in the country, which I think in 3 or 4 weeks, if not sooner, Duke could be the number 1 team in America, then how are you going to deny the best player, the most talented NBA draft prospect, the winningest player on the floor if Duke is number 1 and they're just winning and winning and winning? They could dominate the ACC. They could go in the ACC and lose like 2 or 3 games the whole season. They could. They could also lose 6 and be a bad road team and struggle. But if Flagg stays healthy and he's only scratched the surface like people in his circle are saying, and he only continues to figure it out, what happens, Tyler, when Cooper Flagg is the one with the ball in his hands, and this time it's not like against Kansas or Kentucky when he stumbled or when he slipped on the floor and turned it over? What happens when he starts making the right plays and he's averaging 17 or 18, 10, and 4 per game? And Duke's the best team in the nation. How's that sound for Cooper Flagg to be the National Player of the Year?
Well, Fence, I think you have a great argument. It sounds great, but I'll say this. My only issue, and this isn't a Cooper Flagg issue, is I do not like that Duke puts him in ISOs in late game situations and just expects him to go get a bucket. I think because Cooper Flagg is so talented and he has that ability, sometimes it's not used to his advantage. I think there's too many tools on Duke that they should get him something throughout the offense, and that way they're not so predictable and teams just can't load up on him. But no, you're right, and you've got to give Cooper Flagg his credit. And I do like Duke, and obviously the ACC is down this year. Carolina's not playing.
Does he remind you of
to
anybody?
What we expected.
Does Flagg remind you of anyone, Tyler?
The way Cooper Flagg isn't just he's a more well-rounded basketball player than just an ISO scorer. I think he has that ability, but I think that his ability to guard any position, his length, and his athleticism, and also the fact that he's 17 or 18, whatever he is, he's that young. Not anybody off the top of my mind. I mean, a lot of people want to say, his build is a little bit similar to KD, but to me, I think KD is a much better ISO scorer than Cooper Flagg, even though they have a similar build. And Cooper Flagg impacts the game in other areas that KD doesn't. He's not an ISO scorer like KD in my mind.
Mike, you seem to have a thought on who Flagg might remind you of.
Yeah, I mean, this may be a little random, but when I think about his defensive tools, right, his ability to block shots at the rim, really good in passing lanes, has really good size, can slash, right? Maybe not the best shooter. Like, he reminds me a lot of Andrei Kirilenko. I know that's like crazy random, but there's just a lot of similarities between there. And Kirilenko was an all-star. So like, if you have a career like Andrei Kirilenko, that's a good ass career. So I think, Tyler, you make a good point too, because and Fanta, you also made good points. But thinking about how much the ball is in his hands, I want to see him be more efficient. And I think he can be more efficient with the ball in his hands a little bit less, as crazy as that sounds. Because just with his activity and his length, like, he's a guy that just by osmosis is going to get, 12 points a game on runouts, on offensive rebound putbacks. Like, if he plays with that type of activity, that's what he can do. And then you factor in free throws and some of the other stuff in the half court. Now you're getting to your 18 a game. Go ahead.